appreciate everybody coming tonight. We know the traffic was crazy, but everybody here, you guys all made it. So thank you so much for coming out. We put on these events probably 4 times a year, and the whole point of these events is to help you get better educated. Like, our whole goal is to educate people and just help you get a better understanding of what you're able to do in real estate. So I'm Bowanka. This is my business partner, Safraz. We are the Compass team. Today, what we're gonna be talking about is we're gonna be talking about Airbnbs, cash flowing Airbnbs. We're gonna talk about kind of how to get started. We're gonna dive deep into the numbers and just really help you get a lot better understanding of it. If you haven't been to our events before, a lot of times we go deep into kind of the numbers and the market and how the market is. We're not going to be going deep into that today. After we're done the presentation, there will be a Q&A section, but we do really want to focus on kind of Airbnbs. Something for you to know, the bathroom is right behind the front desk, and there's a lock on it. It's not that easy to use. Even me, I'm a real estate agent, I still struggle. But just put your hand on it, and there'll be a code. For the guys, it's 1090. Ladies, I'm sorry, I don't know, but you'll figure it out. And sometimes the door doesn't work. Just pull it up. You'll be good to go. So I'm gonna bring up Safraz. He's gonna tell you a little bit about himself and a little bit more about the Compass team.
Thank you, Bowanka. Thank you guys for coming. I know I was getting some pictures here and there, and traffic looked a little crazy, but I'm glad we're all here. Before I get into myself, I want to talk a little bit about the Compass team and kind of how it all started and why it started. So it started in 2018, and the reason we started the Compass team was we wanted to be an investor-focused, real estate team. We want to show you guys how and what to buy so that you can make money long term. I've seen it myself, as an investor, and there was so much value that, I just didn't want to be selfish and hold it all in. So I said, let's share the wealth. And now, we've grown the team. We have Annie in the back over there. She's our executive assistant. And we have David. He's our inside sales rep. And, if you ever hear from either of them, don't be shy. They're just like us. We're on the team. We're always trying to help. Whatever you need, we're always there for it. So a little bit about myself. I started investing in real estate a very long time ago, 15 years. So 15 years ago, I, bought my first pre-construction condo. What that means is before the condo was built, I said, you know what, looks like a good opportunity. Just down the street from here, I didn't have a checkbook actually. So I went there and I bought it, had to go get a checkbook, do all of that. But during that process, before it even closed, I saw the value in real estate. I saw, hey, you know what? There's money to be made. I see the price of the property that I bought go up year over year. And I said, okay, cool. Like, I could see it. And I kind of did it again. So my second property, again, I'm an investor-focused, agent. So I bought a property that was a duplex. What that means is I lived upstairs and I rented out the basement. And a lot of the basement rental income, even at that time, just helps you cover the cost, especially it being Toronto. And those two were before I became an agent. And I was in sales and I was like, you know what? I love real estate, so let me become a real estate representative. So once I became a real estate rep, I understood the numbers. I was able to see all of what's available on the market. So between then and, over the years, I was like, I bought another duplex. And then I bought a few more pre-construction units. Again, you put down the money and eventually it closes. And, does anybody know what appreciation is? Who knows? Who here knows? Sounds simple, but not to everybody. What is appreciation? You're smiling.
I've been here many times. Ask someone else.
Okay, who's gonna tell me? Who's gonna tell me? Appreciation?
When something goes up in value.
Exactly. So for me, from when I started 15 years ago, was appreciation. Let's say I bought something at 500,000, and it's worth, when I sell it, 6, 7, 800,000. The difference, let's say it goes up 400,000. That's appreciation. So, that property, the second one I spoke about, I actually just sold it a couple months ago, and it appreciated, it basically doubled. So the price of the property, it doubled. So again, there's so much value in it. However, as many of you may have heard on the news, real estate, the prices have gone down a lot. We've seen it, over the last 5 years. Prices were going down so much, and I was like, I do have properties that some of them make a couple $100 a month. Some of them cost me a couple of $100 a month, meaning I'm negative cash flow. And negative cash flow means mortgage expenses on all of that, minus what rent I get, I'm out of pocket every month. 100 to 200, a couple of them, I'm above 100 to 200, So I was basically like, okay, I had to pivot the strategy because it worked for 10 years, but it hasn't worked over the last, I would say 5. And I was like, how can I cash flow? How can I bring in maybe $200 a month, maybe 500? And around that time, Blanco was talking about Airbnbs. And he was telling me some of the numbers, and I'm like, man, come on, like, there's no way. You're telling me I'm gonna make this much? Like, I'm okay with 200, but he's like, no, you can make this much. And for me, I'm a numbers guy. I have a degree in finance, so if the numbers make sense, it makes sense. So he's like, no, these are the real numbers. And I still, if he didn't tell me what he told me, if he told me those numbers, I'd be like, it's not real. It's not possible to even do it because I've been in the game for a long time. And, from that, I was like, okay, like, I get it. So this year, actually, my most recent investment, this is the biggest one for me, is Airbnb. And that's why when Blanco told me, I was like, man, even when I bought it, I was like, all right, maybe I'll make a little bit less, this, that, and the other. Maybe he's like, maybe he's special. And, it's been 6 months. We just completed 6 months. Actually, we're completing 6 months this week. And I was like, I saw the numbers, and I'm like, I'm a real believer. So, thank you, Blanco, for that. You really put me on game, and that's why we're here, right? He taught me something, and I was like, we need to share this. We can't, like, I'd love to be selfish. I'd love to make more money. Who doesn't, right? It's Toronto, it's expensive. Make more money. That's why we host these events. So Blanca, take it from here.
Okay, thank you, Safraz. I appreciate it. So one of the things that Safraz kept talking about, maybe I'm making $100 or $200. Before I was ever even a real estate agent, one of the biggest things I learned from somebody who was a real estate investor was if you're making $100 or $200 and you own the property, after $100 or $200 after you pay off everything, you're doing good. Like that's a great place to start. If you're negative 100, negative 200, you're still doing pretty good. So that was my benchmark before even ever getting into real estate. So we're gonna take it back a bit and talk about kind of how it started. So you can see 9 years hosting, should be 10 years, it's about to be 10 years. Over 600 reviews, 4.8 stars. So how did this even start? I remember back in 2016, Airbnb was very new, didn't have a lot of rules, and me and my business partner, this is Z, he's one of my business partners, but we were talking about it, and we had the All-Star game coming to Toronto. And we're like, man, you know what? Like, we should put our places up. We're going to make so much money. And what did we do? We chickened out. We didn't put our places up. We didn't make any money. And we just heard stories. Oh, this person's making $400 a night. This person's making $500, $600 a night. And summertime came around. And one day Z called me and he said, can I stay at your place? I said, well, you have your own place, man. Why do you want to stay at my place? He said, I put it on Airbnb. I said, okay, come through. So he comes over and he's like, okay, I made $300 last night. I said, what? That's crazy. 2 days later, I call him. I'm gonna come stay at your place. he's like, why? I said, I put my place on Airbnb. So I went and stayed at his place. We did that a couple times. Then we had a friend who was out of town. We both went and stayed there. We Airbnb'd our places, went, cleaned it up, did everything, and we made a bunch of money. And we're like, wow, this is good. But like the nomad life, it's not good. We're tired of sleeping on each other's couches. So what did? We went and got a place. But this was 2016. It was a different time, and we just rented the place out. The rules were a lot different then. We'll talk about the rules now. But back then, it was the wild, wild west. Basically, like anything goes. So we had one place, and in 1 month, we made like a crazy amount of money. The next month, we went and got 2 more places. So we had 3 places, and we made lots of money again. Then we got 2 more places, and then we just stayed at 5 units for a while. And everything was good, and we did that for about 3 years. And after 3 years, one of the people were selling the property, another person, I think they were selling as well. Then Airbnb started cracking down. They started bringing in more rules, which we're going to be talking about. And we just said, you know what? Like, we had a really good time. We had a good run, and we got rid of those units. But it was great to see, great to learn, and this is what our place looked like.
These are real pictures from what it looked like.
Okay, so they haven't seen what it looks like now, but remember, it was the Wild Wild West. Everything was very new, and the price was a lot cheaper than a hotel, but it wasn't so competitive. It's a lot more competitive now, and you can see it's like these were our actual pictures. Again, I was not a real estate agent at this time. We were doing what we could, and we were very cheap with our budget. Like, the only thing that was important to us was we spend as little as we can, we make as much as we can, and everything that happens in between, it's okay. Now, how it's going. These are what the units look like now. So you can see things have changed a lot with real estate experience, designing experience, professional photography. Things have changed a lot over time. So this is kind of the journey of Airbnb and understanding Airbnb. And in the beginning, I showed you 600 reviews. Mind you, a year and a half ago is when I got a unit, and so there was only 300 reviews. So in the last year and a half, we put another 300 reviews. So people are very happy with how things are going. So I'm gonna bring up Safraz. He's gonna talk to you guys a little bit about the numbers.
Thank you, Blanca. So as an agent, we see how the market does, but also how rent's doing. Rents are important as an investor. If you're trying to make money, you want to get as much rent as possible. So in a very specific example, on average, right now, if you're in downtown Toronto, we're talking, in the heart, close to Scotiabank, CN Tower, you name it. On average, right now, rents are down a lot. So 1-bedroom unit is going for $2,200 a month. This is a big and very important number that we're going to talk about today. So I want you guys, just in the back of your mind, keep the $2,200 a month there, And we wanted to keep it simple because we're going to talk about numbers today. I always say, a lot of times you see numbers and someone says this, someone says that, but we really want to focus on the meat and potatoes. But today we want to show you the meat up front so you guys understand. So in 6 months, based on that rent, you're making, again, we'll just round everything up, or down as close as possible to make it simple. It's $13,000. For the year, it's $26,400. We'll just keep it at 26 for 12 months. On average, for a typical 1-bedroom in Toronto, you're going to get about $26,000. So we're actually going to go now. I want to preface this. Like I told you before, numbers are very important for me, and that's why I told Blanca, we need to talk about the numbers. Without the numbers, none of this matters, So let's go ahead, and we're going to show you this is like live, actual results of one of our clients, and who just completed 6 months this year for a new unit starting in May. So there's a lot of numbers here. We want to keep it as transparent as possible. But before we do that, I told Blanca, I was like, it's great that you're making sometimes $300, $400, $500 a night, whatever it is. But how many nights is it going to be free, right? How many nights is it going to be empty? That's really important. So that's what we call here occupancy rate. So these are the months: May, June, July, August, September, October. This specific unit started exactly on May 7th. It went live on Airbnb on May 7th. First month, think about it, right? When you're going to Airbnb and you're booking a new unit, there's no reviews. The pictures are great, don't get me wrong, but Airbnb is not promoting your product. You're going to be maybe 6th page. How many times are you really, when I book myself, I'm looking at reviews. My wife says, make sure the reviews are good. Make sure, someone says hot water's not working, there's bed bugs, whatever it is, right? So it's a risk in the first month naturally, but even with that, we started on May 7th, meaning we had 7/8 days empty, we hit 79% occupancy. That's really important. 79% occupancy means we were booked 80% of the time. And there's a lot of these numbers. We're going to talk about it at the end in the Q&A. I don't want to get too much into it, but this is all, expenses, this, that, and the other. But I really want to focus on this right here, the total payout. Total payout means on the first of the month. On the first of the month, I get an e-transfer on the first of every month. That's what hits my pocket after all expenses. We're talking laundry, cleaning, whatever it may be that required to run the Airbnb unit, property management fees. This is what I'm taking home in my pocket. So the first month, again, no reviews. We just started on May 7th. We took home $2,862. So who remembers the number I said before? The previous slide. 2,200. So how much did I make comparatively?
600.
There you go.
Over 600.
First month, 600. Not bad. Wonka said 100 to 200, you're doing good. I think 600 is great, right? Comparatively speaking. Now we're going into June. Now we have a couple of reviews, right? Maybe 10, 15 reviews perhaps. We're at $3,839. What's that number now? Sam, you're going to tell me? I know you're calculating it already.
1,600.
1,600.
Wow.
Comparatively speaking, if you're just going out and renting it. The reason why we're comparing it to 2,200, not everybody, but I would say a lot of Toronto investors, like me in the past, were appreciation focused, right? Prices going up, ride the wave, but the game is a lot different now. So now compared to them, we're taking home close to $1,600 a month. We're going to skip over a little bit, but August and September, our best months. Now we have just maybe 30 reviews, nothing crazy. We're not at 100 or anything. This number right here is 6,940. 6,940 in 1 month. Take home in my pocket. It's as if I was paid rent this much. The next month, $7,000. Compared to 2,200, it's almost $5,000 in my pocket. That's why we're here. That's this. When Bonga told me this kind of stuff, it's hard to process. For me, I'm a numbers guy. It's hard to process. I've been in the game for a long time. It was like, come on, man. Like, tell me the truth. Like, what am I going to take home? Maybe there's this, that, and that. But this is what I'm taking in my pocket. $7,170. Right? Naturally, if it's cyclical, right? Summer, this, that, and the other. October, $3,141. Again, still $1,000 more than if I just bought a unit and rented it out. So, I don't know. It might be a little unbelievable, but these are actual numbers from an actual unit that is just completing this week. So let's see. Airbnb, same thing with Blanca, right? I always say, like, I was new to the game. I was like, oh yeah, when he was telling me, I was like, how about the rules? What about the rules? Principal residence, I know a couple here and there, what's going on? There's, if you think about the rules and the news, which is what we see here, 90% of the news is negative. If it's positive news, everybody made it to work on time. There's no traffic. Yeah, you're really gonna watch it? You're wondering what's going on in the DVP. 4-1's closed. You're like, oh, okay, what's going on down south in America? Like, what's going on, right? Where there's a lot of negativity around Airbnb. Naturally, there's rules. There's always rules. But at the end of the day, as investors, as agents, we have to figure out how to stay within the lines. But really, sometimes you will get close to the line, but you're not trying to go outside the line. And you know who's really good at doing that? And great, my business partner, Blanca. He understands the rules, and I always say, like, we still need to keep within the rules and not cross the line. So he's going to talk about what are the rules and how we could kind of mitigate all the other risks involved there.
Okay, thank you, Safraz. Before I switch and start telling you guys about the rules, has anybody heard any stigmas, anything about Airbnb? Have you guys heard anything before?
Stigma, you said?
Just anything.
Well, yeah.
Anything negative.
Oh, negative? Yeah. People using it for the parties and the other surrounding neighbors being upset and feeling that the parties not only upset them with the noise, but bring down the value. Also, it got to a point where people were renting out Airbnbs, and there was like gang things like shootouts and in elevators and murders and things like that.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
So one thing during this all, I'm gonna try and repeat things just for anybody who's watching on video. Basically, the biggest thing you're saying is parties, any type of violence, anything that's happening inside of condos. So yes, this does happen. It can happen anywhere. But if you have a good property management company, their job is to kind of vet people. So you don't even want to let that person into your house. That's like the first thing is, and it's all review based, right? And that's the kind of world that we're in now. So if someone has bad reviews, you just don't let them into your place. Or there's other things you can do. You could take a higher deposit, but one of the things is like we've never really had to deal with that, and it's because you beat it before it even happens. But yes, this does happen, but it's gonna happen in hotels. It's like this is something that's always gonna happen, and people worry about damage. Oh, what if my place is gonna get damaged? You see 604 reviews. We've seen over thousands of people come in and out, and the absolute worst damage that we ever seen is a sliding door that had a mirror on it that got a crack in the bottom of it. I promise on everything, this is the worst damage I've ever seen ever in over 1,000 people coming in and out. And the amount of money you're making is not too much to fix a small problem like that. So tell me what else? Give me some more negative stigmas. You guys watch
The
news,
condo
come on.
board. I heard some condo boards, they banned this.
This is a good one.
That's a good one, actually.
This is a good one. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about it in here as well. But yeah, condo boards.
Yeah.
There's only certain condos that allow you to Airbnb.
Right.
So I would say in the downtown core, there's about 10. For us, there's 2 that are our favorite. We'll touch on them as well. But yes, this is something. You kind of have to do your research before buying in the building. Right. And some of them have different rules. Some of them don't allow short-term rental. Short-term rental, anything that's 28 days or less. Some of them won't allow that, but they'll allow anything that's 3 months or longer, anything that's 6 months or longer. So different buildings have different rules. So that's something that you need to know. Anybody else have any stigmas? Anything they're hearing on the news? Nobody?
It's not really something you hear on the news, but just the amount of days that you can short-term versus long-term. In Toronto, the rules around that kind of deters people from wanting to purchase.
Okay. I'm gonna answer this one in 1 sec, but before I do, I want you guys to. This is how I like to always explain things. So, anybody here like basketball? Watch basketball? Yep. Any basketball fans?
Yep.
A couple? Okay, that's good. Me, I love basketball. I grew up playing basketball, and I was talking to Safraz. I said, Safraz, where's somewhere in the world where people don't play basketball? He's from Sri Lanka. He said Sri Lanka. Okay, so if we take someone from Sri Lanka and we put them into a basketball game and we say, let's play, and they get the ball, what are they going to do? They're going to travel. They're going to double dribble. They're just going to keep getting penalized over and over and over, and they're just going to keep on making mistakes. Why? Because they don't understand the rules. If you don't understand the rules, then you can't even play. But, you know, when I was young and I started playing, I knew the rules, but I would still break them, and, you know, things would happen. I would, you know, get my double dribbles, my travels. But as you get older and as you get better, when you're able to understand the rules more, you learn things like spacing the floor. And then when you look at like the NBA level, those guys know the rules better than anyone else. And that's where you're able to see the most beautiful game. So it's very important that you know the rules. And like I said it before, like me and Z, one of the reasons we stopped was because we were hearing that there was a lot of rules that were coming into place. But once you understand the rules, then you learn how to kind of work with the rules. So short-term license is mandatory. This is something that you have to have. And again, what a short-term license is less than 28 days. So the city of Toronto will give anybody a short-term rental license as long as they are the owner of the place. But even if they're not the owner of the place, if they're the tenant of the place and the owner gives them permission, then they can live there. But the biggest thing is you have to be the one living there, or it has to be your primary residence. Maximum of 180 short-term days. So what does that mean? You can only rent your place out for 180 days short-term. That doesn't mean it has to be 180 days in a row. Doesn't mean it has to be all summer. Doesn't mean it has to start in January. It just, every night that's booked is one night. 2 nights, that's 2 nights. And they just keep adding up. So you're allowed to do, but if you book something that's 28 days or longer, now that's considered midterm, and it doesn't count towards your short-term rental license. And you don't even need a short-term rental license if you want to do midterm, long-term, anything like that. Only the principal resident, I talked to you guys about that as well. And then the condo bylaws that you said. So yes, different condos have different rules. Biola talked about one of the condos that had a shooting. That one actually,
iced condos or something.
Yeah, that one, that's not one that we recommend. But I don't think ice condos, you can still do it there. But there was one at Queens Wharf, and they no longer allow short term anymore. So these are the most important rules that you need to know. But yeah, as somebody who's gonna be buying, the most important thing that you need to know is to get a STR license and make sure that your ID is for that property. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about property management. Again, we were not in Airbnb, not doing anything with it, but I was helping clients buy properties in the good buildings, and I would always tell them, you should get a property management. I always recommend everybody to get a property manager. I actually know someone who was managing it himself, and he lived in the exact same building. And for him, it was easy. He worked from home. He would just go, he would clean the place, and everything was good. We recently took over his place, and since taking over his place, we've made him more money every single month than what he was making when he was doing it himself. So you can always do it yourself, but again, I do recommend getting a property manager. So how did it start? Helping people get places, and then I was getting complaints. Oh, these guys are not getting back to me, or there's all these hidden fees that are coming with it. And that's what kind of sparked me to say, okay, you know what? I have my place, I'm managing my place. I can start managing someone else's place as well. And then brought on 1 person, brought on 2 people, brought on 3 people. My business partner Z got back involved with it as well. And now we're currently at 9 units under management, and everybody that we're working with is very happy about it. And again, they're making good money. And like Safra has talked about, you literally don't do anything. You sit there, you have your whole life, you live your day every single day, and in the beginning of the month, you get money. You don't have to deal with any tenants. Like, there is things that you have to deal with. So sometimes things can happen. I don't think they happen often. You guys want to hear a story of like what can happen? Yeah. Okay. So I'll tell you guys this story. I think my wife Tanya, she gets to see it firsthand. But this was earlier this summer. We were getting ready to go to bed, and I got a message, and the person said, "There's a needle under the bed." First of all, you can't put anything. There's no way you can go under the bed. It's impossible. And the sheets are stained. All of our sheets are all white, and like, they get sent out. They're never. This person had like 1 review. I said to her, "Oh man, tomorrow I'm gonna have to go downtown. Like, there's gonna be issues for sure." She said, "No, don't say that. Don't say that. It's not gonna happen." So 11 o'clock is checkout time, and the cleaner says, "I can't get into the unit." I said, "Did you knock on the door?" "Yeah, I knocked on the door, but I can't get in." I said, "Oh man, I knew this was gonna happen." Anyways, get in my car, drive down. I have a spare key. Knock on the door. Nobody answers. Knock again. Nobody answers. Knock again. Nobody answers. Open the door. It's like a tap. Open the door. Hello, hello, is anybody here? There's a little dog, the smallest dog. It was a cute dog too, but it looked so scared. And then I closed the door right away. I'm not that good with dogs. And I asked the cleaner too. I said, like, are you good with dogs? She's like, no, I'm not good with dogs. I said, okay, hold on. Okay, so we open the door. Hello, hello, is anyone there? I said, okay, hold the door open. I go in, hello, hello. And then I go to the bed. The bed is perfectly made. I told you guys, they said there was a stain. There was no stain. It was perfect. Everything was perfect. But there was nobody there, just this little dog. Call the people. Where are you guys? Nobody's answering. It's just going straight to answer machine. Call Airbnb. Airbnb's, we're going to try and get a hold of them. Okay, you guys are not going to get a hold of them. I remind you, remember, this is like 10 years. There's other things that have happened, but 10 years of experience. So, all right, we got to start moving everything out. We got to get the place clean. We have another person who's checking in at 3 p.m. So I call my wife, Tanya. I say, babe, there's a dog here. She's good with dogs. And she comes down to help, and we're getting everything ready, putting everything outside. Somehow the dog goes outside. She comes. The dog they're best friends now. And we got the place all cleaned up. And what we were able to do, all the fobs are tap. So we deactivated that fob so nobody can go back there. And then the next person came and was able to check in. So mind you, the next check-in is at 3. She was supposed to check out 11 o'clock. At 5 p.m., she calls me crying, my dog is in the unit. His dog is locked in the unit. I said, listen, your dog, we took it to the Humane Society. We couldn't get a hold of them. So your dog is in the Humane Society. And I said, what happened? And she said, oh, she couldn't even explain anything. But I said, listen, here's where your dog is. Go get your dog and then come and get your stuff. She went and got her dog, and then she was coming to get her stuff. I told her it's gonna cost you this much. There was like a number, like this is, you gotta deal with stuff, you gotta pay for it, right? And what she said was, no, I don't wanna do it. I don't wanna do it because I have to pay. It's not, my stuff is not worth that much. And then she left. Anyways, maybe a couple days later, came back, she paid, took her stuff. But these are some things that you might have to deal with on a Sunday morning if you manage the place yourself, because you can't just cancel on the next person that's coming because it will affect you. But all of that to say, it doesn't happen often, but things like this do happen. We have lots more stories similar to that, but our biggest thing is we don't even want to get there. We want to do everything that we can before to not have to have a tenant like that in our place. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I always say work with a property manager. Okay, so we talked about kind of buildings before. I told you there's 10 that are in the downtown core. But what we have here is 2 of our favorite buildings. So it's actually 4 buildings. So 55 and 65 Bremner. So why we like this one the most? So this right here, I don't know if everyone can see right here, this is, it says Air Canada, but this is Scotiabank Arena. Scotiabank Arena, and which also connects to Union Station. So you're literally right beside Scotiabank, you're right beside Union Station, Rogers Center, CN Tower. You're in the most perfect location. You don't even have to go outside to go to Union Station. This section right here is called the podium. This is 9 floors. This 9 floors is La Germaine Hotel. So it's basically already a hotel. And then these 2 buildings, this 55 and 65 Bremner, they're owned by MLSE, and it's ran similar to an Airbnb, and they allow Airbnb and short-term rentals in the building. So this is, personally, is my favorite building. This is where my unit is. Now, 300 Front Street and 20 John Street. Again, these are buildings similar to this. They're connected. They're one building, but 2 different addresses. These ones are, this is my second favorite building. It's ran very much like a hotel. So that's one of the best things about it. It's built by Tridel, but the biggest thing is the price is higher, and I don't think the location is as good. So we're going to bring up Safras. He's going to talk to you a little bit about the numbers when you're owning a place.
Thank you, Blanca. So I don't know if you could tell, I love numbers. Sometimes I'm just sitting there looking at an Excel sheet so that I can get more knowledge. on numbers. That's it, right? So, we always want to use simple numbers, but also realistic, right? If you're saying, hey, we're going to get you a condo at this price, we want to make sure that it's actually possible to replicate or get very close to replicating. I know, again, there's a lot of numbers. We could talk a lot about it, but this one, simply put, it's a $500,000 purchase. Very doable now in the condo market, in those buildings. Some of them, of course, are going to be more. And we're just talking about a single one-bedroom unit, right? Similar to that previous example, $2,200 rent. This is what we're able to purchase. So, $500K purchase price. I want to use minimums for everything, and the numbers naturally get better if you're putting more down payment. So the minimum down payment on a $500K purchase in Toronto is $25,000, okay? With that, naturally, there's legal fees, there's land transfer tax in Toronto. You can't get away from all of this. So that for $500,000 down, I really want to focus just on this number right here. Just shy of $42,000 minimum, okay? So minimum, you could get all out, we're talking down payment, land transfer tax, lawyer fees, other fees. It's going to cost you $42,000. If you want to buy a larger unit or you want to put more down, this part is going to change to the better, right? So again, based on a minimum down payment with $42,000 down, right? Your mortgage payment is $2,315, so we'll call it $2,300. There's condo fees, in an Airbnb, you're gonna have to pay for the electricity, internet, insurance. The actual number out of your pocket is $3,150. We'll just round up a little bit, $3,200 on a monthly basis, right? Before I told you about the 22, compared to the 3,200, had you been, just on a monthly basis, which is annualized, right? Lease is typically 1 year, you'll be negative cash flow, right? We talked about appreciation. Who knows what negative cash flow is?
You're losing money every month, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you'll be out of pocket. You'll be out of pocket had you just gone on the market and said, you know what, I'll just rent it out. That's what everybody does. $1,000 a month. Just, a lot of people, I would say like 80% of investors have done it. Some investors, they've maybe put 250, 300K down, and they can afford to do that. There'd be, less negative cash flow. But again, just based on average, you're negative $1,000 a month cash flow, right? So we have $3,200 a month. Walker, let's go back to the previous slide. Even more, one more, right here. So right here, right? We're talking 22, so we said $1,000 a month in negative cash flow, right? And over a year, $12,000 a month negative cash flow. Hey, if you have a whole bird in your pocket and you're okay with it, fantastic. But as an investor, how to, grow your business, how to, grow your income. I love money. I want to grow my money. I'm not trying to every month just spend $1,000 in hopes of maybe, things just go crazy and, I'm not trying to get lucky. I'm just trying to make money every single month consistently. So for the year, again, we're talking about it. If you're just renting it out, it's $26,000. For 12 months, you're going to be $26,000. Let's go to the next slide. $26,000 plus your negative $12,000 the whole year. What's the point? For 6 months. Again, this is a real number, including property management fee, XYZ, you name it, it's $29,000. So in that 6 months, you've made $3,000 a month, $3,000 more than the whole year. Positive, right? And we haven't even talked about midterm. When you talk about midterm, which is the rest of the 6 months, you're gonna get a lot more money. So let's go to that slide we were at. $3,200 is your typical holding cost. Again, some people want to put 10% down. Some people want to put 20% down, 25% down. The more you put down, naturally, right? This number goes down, and your annualized profit will be substantially more. So let's see what we can do, in terms of between the 32. For me, it's like from the 32, I can easily say, besides the 2 months, especially on that property, your substantial cash flow for the 6. And Blanca is going to explain a little bit about the midterm 6 months, which is what my unit, as an example, is heading into next week. So, go ahead, Wonka.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, before I even get there, so let's say 3,200. I know you guys did this before, but you were going off that 2,200. But let's talk cash flow. So 3,200, that's what your monthly cost is gonna be. So if your monthly cost is 3,200 and you make 2,800, how much are you making or how much are you paying? 400. So you're paying. You're actually negative $400. Okay, it's not that good. Again, very beginning, and also may started a little bit late. But let's go to the next month. So 3,200, and the number is 3,800. How much are you making?
600.
600. Okay, so you make 600 in the month. This is in your pocket. Okay, July, 5,270. I don't even know what the answer is. 3,200. How much? $2,000 in your pocket. Okay. So remember, 100 to 200. That's good money. This is like you're paying every single bill, and this money is coming into your pocket. 6,940. Where's my mathematicians? How much? 3,700. Okay, 3,700. Like, that's good money right there.
That's 3,700 in your pocket.
You've paid all your bills. You've paid all your bills, and you put 3,700 in your pocket. Remember, this is a new unit too. So, 7,170 minus 3,200.
4,000. Right?
39. 39.
Give or take 4,000.
39. 3,900 in 1 month. Now, people are probably, so Safra has talked about midterm, okay? So some of our clients, what they do is October, we put someone in there who's gonna be there longer term, like maybe a student, a corporate executive. Depending on how nice your property is, we're seeing anywhere between 2,500 to 3,500. I know it's a big gap. That's why I said depending on how nice your property is. So if you're making 3,500, that's good money. You're making 300 every month, plus all of this as well. Some other people, they're gonna live there during the time. Maybe they go to school and they're living there, and then they go back home and they're renting it out the rest of the time. Whatever you do is really up to you. But these are short-term rental numbers. But everybody's can do something different. Okay. So, past comparables. Whenever we're looking at properties as if you're going to be buying a property, what we always do is we look at comparable units. So, comparable units meaning a similar type of property and what were they selling for, okay? Now, we don't have our graph. Almost every event that we do, I always put the graph, 40-year chart, and you just see it goes up. But mind you, there's ups and there's downs, and right now we are in a down. Now, on average, the Toronto real estate market over the last 40 years goes up 6.7% per year. This is on average. Again, sometimes higher, sometimes lower, just depends on what's happening right now.
6.7, eh?
6.7.
I like that number. 6.7 is a new.
I love that. Oh man.
Okay, so this is a property that sold 2 years ago. Okay, 65 Bremner, unit 5007. Okay, Z knows this unit. Me and Z, we bought a unit in May this year, and we got it for 2 years later. Who wants to guess with the price? Because I told you we're in a down, and good negotiations too.
Does the number say over there?
This says
690. 2 years ago, 690. Same unit.
590 now.
590. We're
Good.
taking guesses. I'm not answering yet. Let's get some guesses. Come on, let's have
100.
some fun.
That's 100K down.
510.
510, 530. Okay, we got some good guesses right here. 520 is the number. Okay, so let's do math. 690 minus 520.
150.
One.
$170,000 drop in 2 years. Now, this whole time we keep talking cash flow, cash flow, cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. I personally believe the asset is better than the cash flow. Why? Because of the location and because of the price that you're able to get it at, and you're still going to be able to do Airbnb with it and make better money the whole time. So these are similar units in similar buildings, 6,430, 665,000. These are all small 1 bedrooms, similar to what I'm telling you about right now, that you can buy for 500,000. So, what's currently available? This is my favorite one right here. One of the units that we're managing is actually 4006. This is unit 1506. And right now, it's listed at 450,000.
So when Blanca says 06, you know when you have a house, not all houses are the same. But when you buy a condo, typically, if it ends in a 05 or 06, throughout the whole condo, it's the same unit, just on a different floor.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a lot easier for for us to talk about something on the 40th floor versus this, because it's still a 06 unit throughout.
Yeah, exact same layout. So even
Yeah.
what I was telling you about before, the 4807 and 5007, it's the exact same unit. The only difference, one is 2 floors lower and 2 years later. So this is my favorite one right now, listed at 450,000. Why? It's a great price point, and it has a good layout for short-term rental. Now, this is the other building I told you that we like a lot, 300 Front Street. Again, this building...
Sorry to cut you. Is that 1 bedroom or?
This is a 1 bedroom.
This is a 1 bedroom, and this is a 1 bedroom. This 300 front, it's a little bit bigger. For anybody who can't see, this one is 600,000. This one's 450,000. But this one is a little bit bigger. It's not a 1+ den. It also comes with a parking spot. I don't think you get a lot from having a parking spot if you're going to be doing Airbnb. And with us, with our management company, we never give parking, because all it leads to is bad reviews. That's it. So at 600,000, it's a Tridel building, a little bit newer. I don't think the location is good, but I really do support 300 Front as a building, and also 20 John as a building. Now this is a 2-bedroom. So 55 Bremner unit 3007. It's a 2-bedroom, 2 bath, and it has 1 parking, listed for 850,000. Some people, they want a bigger unit just because of resale. Maybe they're gonna live in it, things like that. So these are kind of your best options right here. And every single morning, this is like one of the first things I look at. What Airbnbs are available? Tanya's like, wait, what are you doing on your phone? Why are you looking at this real estate? We just woke up. But it's, this is, I like it. Safraz is looking at the numbers. I'm looking at the Airbnbs, what's currently available. And yeah, we've pre-qualified, as these are the best 3 that we found. So that's it for the presentation. We appreciate everybody, hanging in there, listening to all of this. The biggest thing that we always get, or the feedback we always get, is that people get the most value from the Q&A section. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna open it up to any questions that you might have. If there's any slides that you want us to go back to and talk about, we can talk about that. But what kind of questions do we have?
I don't think I saw it, but the tax related to renting, is it on there or no?
Okay, so again, I'm gonna repeat all the questions. So the question is just about the tax related to renting. So one thing is a MAT tax. So this is a municipal accommodation tax. And what that is, it's 8.5%. But you don't pay it yourself. Unless you're doing if you're on Airbnb, you don't pay it yourself. If you're on booking.com, you have to kind of inflate your numbers to get that. Because what the city works with Airbnb, and what they do is they just say, I want $300 tonight. Someone's gonna come and they're gonna get $300, but they're also gonna pay the Airbnb fee, and they're also gonna pay that city tax. So, but you're still gonna get your $300. So that tax is not really, you don't incur it. And then in personal tax, I'm not an accountant, so it really just depends on how much money you're making personally, how much money you're bringing in every single month. That's more of an accountant question.
So as a host, you don't have to pay the municipal tax. It's covered with the Airbnb fee.
Yeah. So as a host,
The guest pays it. Is that what you're saying?
as a host, if it depends on what site you're on. If you're on Airbnb, the guest is gonna pay that. It's just automatically gets taken. You don't see it, you don't touch it, nothing. If you're on other thing, maybe Booking.com, Expedia, other platforms like that, then you have to include that in your price because you are gonna have to pay that MAT tax at once every 3 months.
Once every 3 months.
Yeah.
More like a GST.
Yeah.
And the reconciliation, does the management take care of that?
Say that again?
The reconciliation of all those numbers, if like you were to list on those other platforms, does
Yeah.
the management takes care of that? Or
Okay, so the question, does the management take care of the taxes? So our management company, we take care of that. We submit the taxes for you and let you know kind of how much that is. But I can't speak on every management company. I don't know what they all do. But our management company is like you do nothing. With us, you just maintain your license. That's it. Maintain your license, and anything major, maybe if your fridge breaks down, your TV breaks somehow. None of these things have ever happened, but those are the only things that you'd have to do. It's very hands off. You don't have to really do anything. Just renew your license every year.
Like personally, I have a unit that Blanca manages. I know the MAT tax exists. I see it, but I don't look at it because it's handled. Like I'm sure there's I know numbers and I don't know my MAT numbers. So there you go. Yeah, sure, you guys get to yeah.
Sorry, I'm not sure, but I was wondering why in your presentation, when you did like the expenses and everything, why did you guys not why, but how much did you guys put down or put aside for like damages and stuff? Like let's just say like try to almost like when you have a condo, like maintenance fees. You should always put some of that aside just in case there's like a damage or whatever.
Okay.
Like, I feel like when you're budgeting or something, like that should be a line item that you should be like mindful of before you look at what your pockets need.
Yeah. Okay. So the question is, do you put aside money for damages? Okay. So what we showed you is just this is everything that you have to pay. Everybody is different. Every unit is different. And it's really up to you. If you want, you could put away 2%, you could put away 5%, you could put away 10% and say, this is my fund in case I ever have any damages. But again, with over 1,000 people coming in and coming out, the damages that we've seen, I got one. So one time we had to replace the knob on the dryer, but that was $10 on Amazon. But it's a condo.
I personally manage 7 like of my own homes and townhomes that I rent, not Airbnb long term. But again, like it's tough for me even. I've been renting them out for at least close to 10 years now. For me to like budgetarily put that in there, because sometimes nothing happens for 2 years, 3 years, but then I don't like. Of course, because I'm making the cash flow, I'm not spending all of it. So there is a number to it. Sometimes it happens. But even for me personally, it's like I don't budget for it. But you can absolutely, if that's the type of person you are, you should absolutely do that.
It's not so much only for like damages per se. It's not only just for damages, but you never know. Like I don't know, like in maintenance can go up, right? Maintenance can go up. Damages.
So okay.
So like when you're budgeting.
overall costs.
Yeah, just not even that. Like I don't know. Like I'm not saying obviously it's a condo, but like even for houses and stuff, right? Hurricanes or whatever.
But you have insurance.
Then you have insurance for it.
Anything that's major, your insurance is gonna cover it. But it's very personal, right? If you want to put 2%, you can put 2%. If you want to put 5%, you can put 5%. But our numbers are all real numbers that are happening every month, and that money that comes to your pocket, you can do whatever you want. Everybody's different. Some people I want to put 10% and have 10% aside. just in case something happens. And when it comes to maintenance fee, if the maintenance fee is going to go up, whenever you're buying a property, there's something called a status certificate. So you're gonna see the status certificate. It's actually a lawyer who reviews it. So the status certificate is like 400 pages. I don't read it. Safraz doesn't read it. The lawyer reads it. The lawyer reads it, goes through all the 400 pages, and then the lawyer comes back to you and says, this is what you need to know in one page. They're gonna give you one page and it's gonna be, this is everything that you need to know about what's happening in the condo. How much is the reserve fund? And one of the things they tell you is what's gonna be happening with the maintenance fee over the next 3 to 5 years. Maybe it's going up 1%, maybe it's going up 2%, maybe it's going up 3%. So you're gonna know this before you get the place. And if you wanna know, like if you wanna look deeper, you can always reach out to the board or to management and say, is there gonna be any changes that are gonna be coming in the next couple of years?
And then you have short-term rental insurance also, so that helps also.
Yeah, short-term rental insurance.
We did cover it.
Yeah, we have
it was in
that in there, yeah.
It was in the monthly cost too. Yeah, you're right. We have short-term rental insurance as well.
So if there's a hurricane or something big, crazy happens, you have insurance to cover that.
Actually, I think in Canada, I don't know about condos, but natural disasters are not covered regardless, many a times. So it's like if a hurricane happens,
You have bigger problems.
yeah, you have, yeah, like on it, yeah, it's even in the States, it's different. Yeah, natural disaster, like my home insurance, natural disaster is not covered. I can't pay for it. I can't even pay to get it. Yeah.
How do you guys think is the best way to manage like giving keys and locks and whatnot, or what's the systems you guys use?
That's a great question. So what systems do you use and how do you manage keys and locks? So in 55 and 65 Bremner, there's something called a key cafe. And basically you send the guest the code. Some people just go and meet the person in person. Here's the keys, come up to my place. You know, we've been lots of places in the world and we meet the host and the host brings us to the place. Host shows us all around the place. I mean, we don't have time to do all that. So there's a box, we give them a code to the box and they're able to access the keys through that box. That's what 55 and 65 Bremner has. 300 Front and 20 John Street, you pick it up from the concierge. You just go to the front desk and you say, I'm gonna be checking into this unit. They already have gotten an email letting them know that you're gonna be coming. You show ID and they give you the keys.
So does concierge have like connections? Like how are they getting all that information relayed?
Email. Go ahead.
So just all via email?
In 300 Front and 20 John Street, there's an email that's going to be happening. In 55 and 65 Bremner, you do something, it's called Building Link. A lot of buildings have it, but you go on there and you say, this person is going to be coming. They're going to be staying for this long.
Is all of this automated and connected to Airbnb, or is it manual?
Manual.
Really?
That's why you got to get a property management company.
So every single stay, every single exit, because I know obviously the cleaning services, I have an Airbnb, it's all automated with that, but it's not a condo. So, but in terms of all of that stuff with condos, it's all manual conversations, and every receptionist or concierge, not every building, even if they allow Airbnbs, is that concierge going to be handling that stuff, or are you setting up like a lockbox?
So I don't know. Other condos?
Yeah, I'm curious, that's what I'm asking.
This is why these are the two of my favorite, because there's other buildings where you do have to set up a lockbox, and then in the middle of the winter, your lockbox is buried in the snow. The person can't get in there. They're not happy. Their hands are freezing. It's not opening. It's frozen. It's jammed. So these are like benefits. And also this building, 5565 Bremner, on the 9th floor, it's just like it's basically made. It's like a hotel lobby. You just go, there's people, you're gonna see people with suitcases all the time. There's couches everywhere. They give you Wi-Fi. So if you're there at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock and your check-in is at 3, you just wait for 2 hours.
The reason I ask this is because if you're recommending the buildings, which makes sense, they have all these things, and you're also dealing with the most competition in that location, right? So potentially for higher income, you're going to go to a location, obviously that's a high demand location, it makes sense. But let's say other areas in the city where there's also high demand, but not as much competition, there's potential for more income, right? Which means you would have to go to a building that may not have a concierge that's okay to do Airbnb, or
Just-
So then your best system is, I guess, lockbox, I'm assuming?
So
Okay.
the way, sorry to interrupt, but the thing with like, you know, if you own a house, you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But the thing with condos, like, you're the owner of the condo, the condo board is above you. They can force you to sell if they find out you have Airbnb and you're not allowed. They could do so many things. And, you know, sometimes, like, I've been to condos, like, just as for clients, and some condos don't even allow lock boxes in the building.
Yeah.
Like, you have to cross the street, go to like Pizza, and someone pays them $50 a month to have lock boxes there, right? So it's a slippery slope. If that was your question.
Well, let's say it's a building that allows Airbnb, I don't know if this is the case. Do buildings allow Airbnb, but their concierge doesn't get involved in that whole process?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
you
there's,
know,
there's definitely that. One of the things you talked about was competition. You said, like, you go somewhere else because there's less competition. So we are competing with hotels. Airbnb, you're always competing with hotels. Hotels have very, very high prices. We actually just went to a wedding, and it was at the Fairmont Royal York, and I had to go to the room, to one of the guys who was staying in the room. I had to go there, and I said, I want to see, Fairmont Royal York always hear such good things. I want to see this room. And he opened the door, and I locked in, and I was like, man, our units are way better than this. So it's like you are competing with hotels. It is a different type of clientele. Majority of people who like Airbnb, they just like how the neighborhood is and the feel of it, but you're also going to be getting a full kitchen. But the location is what's always going to garner you the most money. It's hard to go somewhere that doesn't have that great of a location and still get a high revenue. Like, I met somebody who he bought a place in Oakville, and there's not a lot of competition there, but he also couldn't really find people to come stay there often enough to be able for him to keep it. So that's the thing as well. I think you find the best location, and it's okay if there's competition there. You make your place as best you can, and you're gonna make good money, right? Because if you think about a hotel gets a location, every single room is exactly the same, maybe a little bit different, but they have 400 units in the place. Who are they competing with? They're competing with themselves. Whereas something like this, maybe there's 100 people in the building or 50 people in the building who you're competing with. So there's always going to be people coming here, and that's kind of where you want to be.
Let's go to that slide with just the revenue, because I know we were talking about total payout. Revenue is a great number to see. So like that building, so we're talking 5565 Bremer. Naturally, August, September are the busiest months for the whole building, right? Naturally. But if you look at revenue here, you're at 10,500 for the month. Similar with September, right? You're like just over 10,000. And yeah, there might be a ton of units there, but even with that competition, that's kind of gross revenue before, But your question is definitely like, I understand where it's coming from.
What I'll add is, because I'm the numbers guy for our business, like of the 8 units that we have in the Brenner Towers, we average 97, 98% occupancy despite the number of units in the building. So it's competitive, but there's people want to stay in that location.
Yeah, the only thing that we really see is like some people, their units are just not as nice. They didn't put too much time, energy, money into it. And those units don't bring in as much money as a unit that you put more time, energy, and you just make it more desirable.
And we're priced on the top end of the competition because of the quality of the units. So it's like, we got a good system.
Yeah, and I will interject a little bit. So I have a friend who owns a unit across the street from this one. They started on the same week as me, and like their occupancy rate, as an example, their unit is not as nice as our unit. Like I'm talking 50% less occupancy at $150 a night.
When you say it's not as nice, do you mean it's not as big? What do you mean?
I would say same size, but it's like Blanca's old pictures. I'm talking 10 years ago. They took it on their cell phone, and I was recommending like, hey, it's okay if you just want to do something here and there, but if you're actually trying to do it, it doesn't make sense. They just took pictures on the cell phone, and it's like the kitchen picture is like a picture from here as an example, right? and you know they're trying to do the 6 months. Their occupancy is like 50%, and maybe like $125 a night.
Do they have a property manager?
No, they don't. Yeah,
And then my other question is, how much is property management? What's your?
that's a good question.
How much is property management? Okay, so for this we have a 20% fee. The industry standard is anywhere between 15 to 20%. The majority, again, I told you the whole reason that I started was because of the complaints that I was hearing about other management companies. There was another management company that I'm not gonna say their name. They were at 15%, and we get the most complaints from them by far, like by far. And then there's another one that's 20%. I think we beat them a little bit, but they're actually good. I don't talk anything bad about them, but you get what you pay for.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing I'll add is, oftentimes people get hung up on the monthly percentage fee, but really what our competition does that we don't do is hidden fees. And they'll optimize for like, oh, we had to send a handyman, that's $150. We had to change a light bulb, that's $100. We don't charge those fees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you ever want to find out more about management, dive deeper into it, then we'll set up a one-on-one. We'll show you kind of everything that we do and why our fees are how they are.
You say 20% of the posting price, or how did you charge it?
20% of the
For property management, you say you charge 20%. Oh, 15.
20%.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is it off of the like Airbnb posting? If it's like 3 days, you get 20% of 3 days, or monthly? Is that what it is?
It's monthly, yeah.
Total revenue.
Total revenue minus cleaning fees.
So like look at September as an example.
Yeah.
10K was made, roughly 10K. There's roughly 2K in property management fee, so 20%.
Oh, okay, I see. Total, okay, I see.
Yeah.
So if someone does it like on a week, like it's still on a weekend, like I don't know, like someone wants to rent out for the weekend, you take those whatever is in the month, how many rentals you have for the month, and then get 20%. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Just about your renovations, like, is that something that you said your units look nicer? Is that something that you would cover with property management, or is that
Yeah.
something?
So again, this is Safra's friend. He says his friend is like this.
It literally looks like
this
that.
is what our old one was. We've been there. Okay, but yeah, you can see. So this one, we did a full renovation. I should have showed you like a picture of how it was before, but it wasn't very nice before. But yeah, we did a full renovation. We actually have somebody who just bought a Airbnb, and he closed on it yesterday. He actually hired us to do the renovation, to get it all ready, to take the pictures, everything. We're going to be managing it as well. So today was the first day. We started the renovation. We're going to be doing an accent wall as well. This right here, that wall, that's what the accent wall is. But yeah, that's something that we do.
On average, how much for the renovations?
It depends how big your place is. Yeah.
It depends on what you want to do too. Some people want to
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
all the way.
Yeah.
Range-wise.
Like just for a kitchen, let's
Yeah.
say. Like the kitchens are really old in that building. So just
Kitchen, it depends on if you have like an island or not, but you're looking around like 8,000. Could be more. Depends on how much work there is to be done.
And then just out of curiosity, what do you guys use to manage? Like, do you use like Hostaway or Hospitable? Like,
Yeah,
just
so
out of
we
curiosity.
use Hostaway.
Okay, and what's your opinion on that one versus the others? Like, why do you use that one?
I think we like Hostaway the most. Like we used another one before. I don't remember what it was called. We start uplisting. Yeah, we used uplisting. Didn't like the functionality of it. When we originally started back in the day, we used Guesty, but then Guesty made a bunch of changes, so we don't use them anymore. So Hostaway is like our.
My main curiosity is like, what's the reasoning and why you got to Hostaway over the others? Like, why did you like it?
Hostaway,
Research.
The thing I like about it the best is it's a centralized platform for all the platforms. So you can use Airbnb, Booking.com, Expedia, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All the messages land in a single inbox, and your messages go back to those platforms as they come in and out.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the biggest benefit. So you're not logging into Airbnb to talk to somebody. You're not logging into another platform. You can change prices automatically. Everything's done in a centralized software, and it gets pushed out to those platforms.
Yeah, I would say too, like it's like there's a lot of like trial and error and also just like research. But the CEO of Hostaway, like we like him like a lot, and he's somebody who's always looking to improve. And one of the things with Hostaway is they always like every third or fourth time you go on there, there's a new update, and it's because they always are trying to get better. So that's one of the things we really like about it.
And their support's awesome too.
Yeah.
Some of the other platforms you might go days without a ticket getting answered. Hostaway's like minutes.
And then for your chat with concierge, it's through, does Hostaway have like a way to connect?
No.
That'd be nice.
No.
It doesn't? Okay.
No.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't even know Hostaway was. Can you explain that? What is that?
It's a management software.
Oh, software. Oh, I see.
Yeah. It's like if you have multiple units, it's great to use it. If you have multiple units on multiple channels, it kind of puts everything in one place so you don't have to go looking. There's lots of different ones. He has Airbnb already, so I'm sure he knows a little bit more about it. But yeah, there's lots of them.
That's only for property managers.
It's not for anybody can use it. Yeah, anybody can use it.
It's web-based probably, right? Is it web-based? Yeah.
There's a mobile app. There's a desktop application. It's pretty awesome.
Oh.
I use it too. I look at those numbers every day. The app is really good. Like
Oh yeah, that's another thing that's good about it.
Yeah.
So then we give our clients, they're able to see everything on there as well.
Yeah.
Nothing's hidden.
Yeah,
All transparent.
yeah.
Like it tells you, like it's a really good app.
The question I had was, you mentioned, Wonka, that short-term rental is defined as 28 days or shorter, right? So people can rent it for a day, a weekend, a week, up to 28 days. Now, if you rent it for 29 days or 30 days, it's not a short-term rental anymore, technically, right?
Yes,
What
yes.
is it then? Is it a long-term rental? or
We call it
midterm
midterm.
rental?
We call it midterm
Midterm.
rental.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that you need to know
Yeah.
is
You don't need
it
a
does.
license for that?
You don't need a license, and it doesn't count towards your 180 days. So if you get something longer than that, that's great because it doesn't count towards your 180 days. And you always want to maximize your 180 days because you can make way more money during those 180 days. Like someone's not going to come and pay the same price for a month or 2 months that they were going to pay for a day times 30.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, the longer, the lower the rate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why if someone signs for a whole entire year, they're going to be paying $2,200.
yeah. So then at what point does it become a long-term rental? Is it at 6 months or longer?
Like 6 months.
Because then it falls
6
under.
months.
6 months, right?
Yeah.
So then it falls under the Residential Tenancies Act?
Yeah.
That means that now you actually have a tenant in
Yes.
there.
Exactly.
They refuse to pay.
Yeah.
Or.
Absolutely.
Call in your unit,
Yeah.
then you gotta go to the landlord
Th-
and tenant board
yeah.
and all that, right?
This is a very, very, very
That's a
good
very good question, actually.
So,
Is
yeah.
that 6 months?
yeah,
or-
so the question is, when does it become long term, right? So the
Yeah.
answer is, the
Yeah.
answer is going to be 6 months.
6 months.
And I like what you were saying because this is another thing too. When it's less than 6 months, right? I told you, somebody try to stay longer, go in the house, get out. Like this, you're not supposed to be here anymore.
Yeah.
But if you're doing 6 months or longer, you can't do that. You can't just go in and say, hey, it's time for you to get out. You can't do stuff
But
like
you
that.
can do that at 5 months as well? You can kick them out at 5 months if they don't pay rent?
At 5 months, yeah.
Yeah?
It's 28 days when you get landlord tenant board laws. It's not 6 months.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so 29 days and
Yeah,
you're
sorry to-
stuck, right?
Sorry to correct that, but no, it's
But,
28 days.
Yeah, I thought so, because the government of Ontario.
Yeah, that's like the facts, it's not. yeah,
So anything longer than 28 days, you're basically got a tenant in there.
And you have a
And
tenant
if
in
you
there,
got someone
and-
squatting, you're screwed, and you gotta go to court and all
Exactly.
that long
But
process.
remember when Blanco was
Because
talking
I've
about
been
beating the
through that.
problem?
Yeah.
How do you vet that person?
Right.
What do you do prior to that person booking the place to avoid
Right.
that situation?
Right, obviously you have to sign an agreement or something, right? Because
But-
it's just like a
Um,
hotel, right? If you go stay in a hotel.
That's if you
can't
sign a
say that I'm
lease, though.
staying
Yeah, that's
here.
if you sign
If
a
you
lease.
sign a lease,
on,
though.
On Airbnb,
They're not signing
Yeah, you're not
leases.
like.
If you don't have a lease, if you stay in a property for 28 days, you get squatting rights and landlord tenant board rights.
Because Because you fall under the RTA
Yeah,
by
if
default.
you.
You
with
look
the
you
tenant
look
law-
deep into this already?
I mean, of course, I have multiple rental properties.
It's
and
over
know the
28
rules
days,
of that.
so 29 days and you're under the RTA, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
29 days.
But remember, on the platforms, you have a rating. People care about their rating. Like the social aspect of these platforms is really
Good to know,
important
we'll
to
check.
consider too. So if you're not gonna, if your guest is someone that's likely to do that, they probably have a bad rating system in the past.
Yeah, you're
Or
definitely
they're
gonna
risking
vet-
then getting a bad review by
definitely
you
should vet
staying at your
people,
place.
right?
Yeah.
No, but what I was thinking is like you said earlier, like let's say you have a student who wants to rent for 4 months, or you have an executive on an assignment, like a project for less than 6 months. They're here to work for their company location in Toronto versus Denver, Colorado, where they're from, right?
35 days.
So if they wanna stay for 4 months in your unit, which is still less than 6 months, but more than 28 days, then where do you fall under the law, like the bylaw, you know
That's
what I
good.
mean? Because is that person a
RTA
tenant
applies.
now?
RTA applies, but if you
RTA
get them
applies.
booking through Airbnb,
Yeah,
that review
yeah.
is what's gonna stop them from doing stupid shit.
Right, so in Airbnb, you can book for more than 28 days?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
And that's our ideal type of longer term stay,
right,
is somebody so that review is what they care about. 'Cause
right.
your social profile is what you need for future bookings.
Yeah.
Right.
No, a lot of times too, you can see where the person is coming from, right? Like
Right.
if someone's staying longer than 28 days, they normally don't live in Toronto. You can see they're in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm
Right.
coming here. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier. And honestly, I thought it was 6 months. I'm gonna have to go look into the rules a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we've never
Because
had to.
Airbnb allows up to 6 months, right?
Yeah.
Right, so that's 180 days, right?
Yeah.
Executive, right?
Yeah.
So and you sign an agreement with Airbnb, right? They have a template for their agreement, right? The short-term agreement,
Well,
STR or whatever.
Not really. No.
No. So then how, by law, how is that classified? Because if you're not signing an
It's
agreement-
very similar to someone going to a hotel.
Right.
If you go to a hotel and you say I'm gonna stay here for
Yeah.
7 days,
Yeah,
or
and
let's
then you
say
end up staying
I'm gonna
like
stay here
37
for
days.
for a month,
Yeah.
and then
They
I
can
don't
do
know
that.
anyone who's squatted in a hotel,
You
but
can't do that.
it's
No,
very
you can
very
in the hotel
similar.
for sure.
Yeah.
'Cause they own the unit.
Yeah,
But in
hotels are
hotels.
Exempted,
it's a
yeah.
commercial property
Yeah.
versus residential, so they
Yeah,
fall under
that
different
is one.
laws, and even if you stay longer than 29, 30 days,
Yeah.
it doesn't count under landlord tenant board.
Yeah, it's not covered under there. Yep.
Oh, because it's commercial, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Do you
this is
do you
residential.
go on Airbnb Booking.com?
Yeah, of course.
And has anyone ever tried to do that with you?
All my listings are, like when I put them up, they're all limited to 28 days and under.
Okay.
So I just automatically.
Is it in
there's a-
Toronto?
Yeah, it's in GTA, not Toronto.
Plus, it's not a condo, right?
No.
Because I have a feeling in condos, it's probably more likely that you're gonna get squatters than in a house kind of thing, right?
I mean, as they said, if you vet the person properly, like you
Yeah.
probably, I'm sure for midterm, you're gonna check their LinkedIn or something, or check property management, hopefully does that. I think you can avoid that, I'm assuming.
It's similar to like when we do, just the typical long term for our clients. Like, we
Yeah.
really have to go in deep because we know the horror stories naturally. Like on the regular, we have clients that don't do short term. We
Because, there's
triple
a lot
check.
of squatters in the GTA.
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
hold on,
naturally,
hold on. One thing I want to say, I hear about this all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
All the time, I always hear about this.
Knock on wood, yeah.
Yes, there is people who squat. You say there's a lot. There's not a lot.
It's the
Maybe,
news, yeah.
okay, it's the news, okay? So there's like
News.
hundreds of thousands of people who just pay their rent on time every single month, and you never hear about them ever. But there's 5 people who are squatting, who are all over the news, and you hear about them, and it's loud. But don't forget about the hundreds of thousands of millions of people who pay their rent on time every single month.
Right,
But
right.
the biggest
Just
thing
in the last 5 years, I've noticed there's been a lot of problems.
is news. It's just
Yeah.
news. Like
Yeah.
the biggest thing is like is
COVID.
news. So
Yeah, even during COVID, like I had,
Yeah.
with my actual rental properties,
Yeah.
that's what I was actually worried. COVID hit, shut down, people can't go to work. Like,
Yeah.
if I was having 7 at the time, I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
Only one person came and said, hey, you know what? I'm just going through a situation. I'll pay you your rent. And just can you reduce it by $200 a month for the 3 months?
That's fair.
And after that, everybody was kind of back to work, obviously online now. And yeah, knock on wood, of course. But
where I hear about the people who turn out to be squatters is one, I know a person who knows this person, come stay
Yeah.
at the place, or a random person on Facebook Marketplace and the person renting it out, I don't want to pay a realtor fee. I'm going to go do it myself. I'm going to save the money. And then you don't do any of the work to vet them and like the actual things that realtors do. And then you end up with that huge problem. Every single, because I know people who have been in this problem, like I can't name any of them who had a real estate agent. Not one, but I know people, and from Facebook or from I met this person through that person. Yeah.
Yeah, we're like, even on the, I can't talk about the short term, Blanca does that, but long term, we call employers. We're not just calling because now people do all these document stuff, right? You call HR, you check LinkedIn, you check Facebook, Instagram, whatever social profile they have, because it's, everybody wants to be able to.
Their job, right?
That's, typically the people with, in my experience as a landlord, people with good jobs who have lost, naturally I give grace, everybody's different. So you know what, I totally understand. You know, it's,
1 month.
I'll give you 1 month grace period. I'll take your last month. Let's move on, and you know we'll talk about it. I'll give you a good reference the next time. Knock on wood, right?
In regards to the Airbnb period, the midterm part of things, is that something like you guys take care of it as a property management?
Okay, the question is, do we take care of midterm as a property management company? Our company, we do take care of that. Basically, yeah, everything. Short term, midterm, everything. You don't worry about anything. We take care of everything. Maintain your license. What else?
You don't do long term, right? So you only do.
Well, as real estate agents,
As real estate agents, we do long term.
We do long term, yeah.
Yeah, we do long term.
But that's different though. Yeah.
That's a different ballgame. Yeah.
What other questions do we got? No other questions? Okay. Okay, perfect. Well, I mean, we appreciate everybody coming out. If you have one of these books, make sure to take one of these books home. And you're probably wondering, like, why this book is going to teach you how to buy, sell, and invest in real estate. People wonder, like, why are you giving us a book that's going to teach us how to do that? Like, don't you want to help? And no, our thing is we always want to educate you. We want you to know as much as possible, because when you know more, you're going to have more confidence to make the best decision, and we'll be there to support you every step of the way. Even if you want to go and buy or sell on your own, we will still support you. But we've told you what happens when people end up doing stuff on their own. We have a survey for you guys. One sec, B. We're gonna be here for questions after as well. So if you could put your name, phone number, email, and then we have some questions for you guys. So first one, how did you rate the event? Out of 5, if you didn't like it, let us know. We always want to get better. That's our thing, is we always want to get better. Was the topic valuable? Again, 1 to 5. And what other topics would you like us to cover in the future? If you want to know more about investing, if you want to know more about different ways to buy houses, anything that you can think of that has some sort of real estate related, write it down. The next one is, would you like a real estate action plan? And what a real estate action plan is, it's where you sit down with me, Safraz, and we kind of get a better understanding of what you're looking to do in real estate, and we see if we might be able to help. The reason we say might is because we're not always able to help everybody, but if we are able to help, then we show you different ways on how we're able to move forward. And then the last one, just as simple, when is kind of the best time to contact you? Morning, afternoon, evening. So yeah, we really appreciate everybody for coming out. Take a book home with you. We're gonna be here for any questions. You can have more wine, cheese, snacks, anything like that. But again, we know it wasn't easy to make it here tonight, but you guys made it, and we hope you took a lot from it. But we appreciate you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Cashflowing Condos with Airbnb. We just finished our event. We had a great turnout. The Q&A section was crazy. Everybody had so many questions. They were all learning from each other. And I think that's kind of where we always get the most value, is when everybody gets involved.
Exactly, and it's real numbers. We showed real results, and yeah, the questions and answers, everybody was kind of mind blown, and they wanted to know more about it, right?
Yeah. So all of the money that's gonna be coming in. People, you know, they didn't believe it. And it's normal that you're not gonna believe these numbers until you see them. But watch the full video, get a better understanding, and we're having these types of events all the time. It's always about education, and we're looking forward to seeing your beautiful faces soon.